Call the meeting to order for the Berks County Board of Elections. I'm Commissioner Christian Leinbach, Vice Chair of the Board, sitting in the absence of Commissioner Michael Rivera. This is a meeting for November the 13th. At this time, I'll recognize my Executive Assistant, Veronica Laporte, to read the public comment notice.
Good morning. Thank you. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used, Teams Q&A. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the county's discretion. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue. The county shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any response to public comment will be done at the county's discretion.
Thank you very much, Veronica. There's no public comment on specific agenda items in person or online. So we will move to our agenda. Are there any additions or corrections for the October 23rd meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Moving to the agenda, the first item, unofficial returns reporting form. Ann.
Good morning. So on Tuesday, we reported unofficial results to the Department of State as per the law. So I would ask that the board signs that unofficial reporting form that I submitted. It basically has all of our ballots in it, except for military was not included at that point. But I did note at that time that those were still to be counted.
When you say Tuesday, not Tuesday election day,
this past Tuesday, yeah, correct.
Want to clarify, so because provisionals were dealt with on Friday. And write-ins?
So provisionals we started on Friday and we finished, so they are included in this report from
Correct.
Tuesday. Write-ins we are still looking at.
Correct.
Yes.
So just, it's more than just the military and civilian overseas that are not in this. The write-ins are not in this.
Correct. We don't have write-in results
Right.
yet.
And
all those
another
votes
reason it's
are included.
unofficial.
Yes.
Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the board's execution of the unofficial returns reporting form for the 2025 municipal election to the Department of State.
I will second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. The second item, receipt of unofficial computation canvassing of votes cast at the November 4th municipal election and commencement of the 5-day period of public inspection.
So we now have the unofficial canvass. These results include the military ballots, very similar to what we submitted on the past Tuesday. Just has those military ballots, and I believe there's 2 additional provisional ballots that were located in that time frame. So the signing of this would open up our 5-day review period to review results, and the write-in snippets have now been posted on our website.
So military civilian overseas deadline was 5 p.m. yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
How many? There were 24 earlier in the day.
I think did we count 23 or 24? Yeah. Right.
Okay. So 2 naked ballots. These are overseas, though. These are military.
Yes.
And I'm going to go over this because they're different. They don't get the same packet. They don't get the same packet that people do here.
Correct.
Historically, we've counted naked ballots from the military. Yes. Because let's look at this. Yeah, go ahead and turn yours on. I
was going to say we did check with legal on that, and I do believe we haven't counted naked. It's the only category that does apply to military and civilian overseas is if it's naked, because they do have the same instructions to put it in a secrecy envelope separate from their declaration. But yeah, we can look at it.
But they don't get the envelopes. They have to create this.
Correct. And they typically just put it in a blank envelope.
Okay. it's something we need to look at. It's,
Yeah.
Just for the record, up until the general election of 2020, this county counted naked ballots. We did. We did because of voter intent. The law has always driven towards what is voter intent. I've always been troubled by the naked ballot. That's no voter that I can imagine, is trying to cheat or is saying, you know what, I went through all of this, but I don't want my vote to count, so I'm not going to follow the instructions. And, I get it. I'll leave it at that. But it's problematic for me.
So specifically regarding military and overseas, you are correct. There's a provision specifically regarding military and overseas ballots. It's entitled Prohibition on Non-Substantive Requirements. And one of the provisions within there is failure to satisfy non-substantive requirements, such as using paper or envelopes of a specified size or weight shouldn't disqualify a military overseas ballot. The issue, and we can look at specifically secrecy envelopes in this context. But the issue, unfortunately, with the lack of a secrecy envelope is it allows you to link a vote with a voter,
Right.
which is the issue here.
Especially with that, because it's not like they're in a huge stack.
Correct.
Going through automated machines, opening it. You have an individual opening a ballot
But
that's signed on the outside.
that's correct. But you are correct. There is a provision under the UMOVA statute that talks about substantive requirements as it pertains to specifically military and overseas ballots. So,
I just know from some military folks, it's not particularly easy to vote overseas. Just saying.
So currently we do or we do not count those naked ballots?
currently, we do not.
Okay. If we would, I'm not saying we would, but if we would that open us legally to other, when some other, we don't count other naked ballots? We count for that and don't count it for others? Is that a legal concern?
Potentially.
Mhm.
I mean, it's tough to say because, again, they do have that different provision in there about non-substantive requirements.
Okay.
I hate to bring up this issue, but within the undated ballot litigation, one of the arguments made in support of counting undated ballots, it was this non-substantive provision in military overseas and the disparate treatment it creates. So,
Okay.
And they don't, and the other point I was making, they don't get a packet. They don't get a mail-in ballot like people get them here. They have to download the ballot, I believe, and it's a different process. So let's try to look at that and see if we can get some more clarity, not for this election, but for the future. If Commissioner Rivera will be disappointed that I chaired the meeting. He wouldn't have gotten into that, I don't think. So with that said, we're ready to act on item 2.
I'll make a motion to start the commencement of the 5-day period of public inspection and the receipt of the unofficial computation and canvassing of votes cast at the November 4th, 2025 municipal election.
I'll second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Okay, the next couple of items are going to be handled by Cody. The first, item 3, discussion of Y-3 voting complaint for decision as to whether to refer the matter to the district attorney's office for further investigation.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good morning, election board. So we were made aware of a voting complaint that occurred in Y-3 on election day. The voter who made the complaint appeared to vote on election day and was told that another individual had already checked in to vote under this individual's name. Our records do show that somebody checked in earlier in the morning under that voter's name and proceeded to vote. And then the complaining voter came to the precinct after that. Upon review of the electors in the precinct, this doesn't appear to be a matter of somebody with a similar name or a junior or a senior or something along those lines, as we were not able to locate names in that precinct that would be similar enough to potentially explain this on its face. And it does appear that the signature from earlier in the morning, it does appear that that voter attempted to write the name in question. As the board knows, there are multiple provisions in the election code that criminalize the act of voting or attempting to vote as another person. So under the circumstances, it would be my recommendation to refer this to the district attorney's office for further investigation, to allow them to further investigate and hopefully get some clarity in terms of what went on here.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? I would just add, I think this is going to be a tough one. I would add a level of urgency for the DA to do everything they possibly can to track down this individual and prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. This is extremely troubling.
The only question I would have is this, in your experience, does this happen very often? I mean, how often does this happen?
I don't remember it ever
This is the
happening.
only time? Okay.
Yeah,
No,
that I
that's-
was aware.
Okay.
And again, when we say this has happened, where somebody appears to have voted illegally under someone else's name, and the other voter came to vote and wasn't able to vote.
Right.
I've not seen that happen.
Okay.
That what it doesn't, I'm not saying it's that someone else voted and if this other voter hadn't come forward to vote, if they decide, you know what, I'm not voting today, no one would have ever noticed this,
Right.
most likely. So, and there is a certain, I think, element, we have the signatures and the signature should have been questioned by staff. And I think this is, if for nothing else, this is a demonstration that we need to show during training and say, hey, look, these aren't close. You can't let something go by like this. That simple act alone, giving them a form, actually, the form isn't even for that, having them confirm who they are through some other means would have likely stopped this from even happening.
Signature should have gone through the challenge process.
So, anything else?
Nope.
All those in favor of referring to this matter to the district attorney signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Item 4, discussion of Lyonsboro Election Day complaints for decision as to whether to refer the matter to the district attorney's office for further investigation. And you might want to give a little bit more background, because this is the one that we were involved in with Cornerstone, the write-in issue. There's more history than just what happened on Election Day.
Yes. So following Election Day, I'll start off. We received numerous complaints from Lyonsboro alleging various degrees of voter intimidation that were alleged to have occurred at the precinct. If the board will recall, in the primary, there's an individual who launched a write-in campaign for the mayor of Lyonsboro. That individual did not receive the number of write-in votes required under the law to be declared the winner. He needed
Which was 10.
He had 5. So the election board properly allowed him to accumulate those votes, but he was not declared the winner because he did not meet that threshold. Subsequent litigation ensued in the Eastern District Court of Pennsylvania. It was appealed to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. The Third Circuit just recently affirmed the Eastern District's dismissal of that lawsuit.
And they were arguing that it was unconstitutional to not place his name on the general election ballot, that the requirement to have a minimum number of votes equal to the signatures needed to get your name on the ballot was unconstitutional.
That is correct. Yes, and it was the complaint was dismissed by the Eastern District Court on a motion to dismiss, and that dismissal was summarily affirmed by the Third Circuit. So the Third Circuit didn't even issue briefing on it. They just summarily affirmed the dismissal of that complaint. So that individual is not on the ballot in Lyonsboro. However, there was a ballot candidate for mayor in Lyonsboro running as an independent candidate. After Election Day, we received numerous complaints from the candidate who was on the ballot and also individuals who I believe may be associated with that candidate against the candidate that ran a write-in in the primary and also ran a write-in in the general election. Those complaints vary in nature. However, some of the complaints do allege that voters were unable to vote without confrontation, persuasion, and pressure, which is a concern because under the election code, it is actually a felony to use or practice any intimidation at the precincts with design to influence unduly overall any elector or to prevent them from voting or restrain their freedom of choice. So as I said, we received numerous complaints. I think we received 7 complaints in total that allege this type of behavior. We did have discussions with our rover who was assigned to that precinct. They didn't note any immediate concerns on their end. However, given the number of complaints that we saw, to ensure that we do our due diligence with the complaint, I think it makes sense to refer it to the district attorney's office, allow them to further investigate. So again, they can make a determination of, what, if anything, was going on here.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion for that. Yes.
I'll second that motion. Just a little more detail. I believe in your email, did you reference some of the individuals actually going up to cars?
That is what, so some of the complaints do allege that essentially.
That's really out there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the gist of the complaints is that voters would drive up to the precinct and immediately be approached by, a group of individuals. And again, they vary in terms of their detail, but that's generally the general gist that voters would show up and they would be approached prior to going into the precinct, even when, they didn't necessarily want to be. So, but yes, that I think the number of the complaints and also the nature of some of the complaints, it is the biggest concern here. And I think it's important to make clear that, they're just allegations, they're just complaints at this point. However, when they're forwarded to us and we review it and they review this type of concern, I think it's appropriate to pass it on to the district attorney's office so they can, hopefully find out what was going on.
Just curious who won the election.
Well, I think that's to be determined based upon the write-in votes and subsequent accumulation. So
Yeah, I would just agree. I think the fact that there were so many complaints, and I think the fact that it was a contentious election and some of the things that were reported to us, I think it's appropriate that we allow the district attorney to do an investigation. They're only allegations and possibly nothing would come out of it, but I think it's something that we need to look at.
Absolutely. With that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Next item 5. This came up in the primary. I know you attempted to address it. It's come up again. Cumru 5 Election Day parking, Mosaic Church. You want to address that, Ann?
Yes. So we did know this was an issue after the primary. And we worked with the location and he had agreed that poll workers could park on the grass, not on the pavement. And that would reserve some more spots for voters. And then I didn't hear anything on Election Day regarding this, but it was after Election Day I did receive the complaint. So again, we reached out to the location, and he told us he's fine if voters park on the grass on Election Day. So this is one option. He says that he has about between 80 and 100 parishioners, I guess, that come on a Sunday. Now they're not all driving, and he can accommodate all of those vehicles on the grass. That would certainly open up some more parking spaces, and we would have to look into putting some signage up that would be acceptable and appropriate for voters to park on the grass. We certainly can look into other options in this area as well. If nothing else is going to work out, this is in the precinct, and we like to try to keep it in the precinct. This is hopefully a suitable arrangement, for voter parking.
Probably should look at both.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we absolutely will. We'll see if there's anything else available that would afford more parking.
Okay. With that, election director's report, Ann.
Okay, so as we talked about the write-ins, our office is going to begin looking at the write-ins. They started this morning. We have 17,435 write-in votes. So they have been posted, the snippets, on our website. And the form that write-in candidates can use to accumulate write-in votes will also be posted on our website. I believe it'll be up beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow when the official period opens. We are looking to do the 2% audit next Wednesday, the 19th of November at our 600 Penn Street location. We will put some information regarding that on our website for any party representatives that are interested in either observing or
And that's a manual
participating.
count.
That is a manual hand count, right, of 2%. And if we are chosen for the RLA audit, which will be later this afternoon, we'll find out about that. That will be done at the same time, again, Wednesday. I don't think we chose a time. Typically, we start it in the morning, 9 a.m., but the information will be on our website.
Okay.
That's all I think I have.
And how many write-ins did you say how many was it?
17,435.
That sounds a lot.
It is a
It
lot.
is a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Municipal elections typically.
Right. So we have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot to go through. And remember the poll worker positions, we had a lot of openings on
Right,
those
true.
races. So we do have a lot of,
Majority, minority inspector, Joe.
correct.
I think there were a fair number of auditor,
There are
township
that were,
auditor
right.
positions. They're just
So one
vacant.
write-in vote could win it in some cases.
Yeah. And that's the difference between the general
Yes,
and the
correct. And
primary. That's
yes.
it. That we should make that very clear. In the general, there is no requirement for it's whoever gets the most
The most,
votes.
correct.
And so if one person gets one vote, they're in.
They will, right,
There's nobody around.
right.
Okay. General comments from the board?
Just, I know this is our first election board meeting since Election Day, and I want to commend Ann and Steph and Marcia and their staff for all the great work that they did. I know that there was a lot of people, a lot of names on the ballot. The retention generated a second page. So I just want to commend you for the great work that you all did. I think it went off. Maybe there was a couple little issues along the way, but I think we did a great job and you did a great job, and congratulations. That's all I have.
Yeah, I will add to that. I was around on election day, mostly afternoon into the evening. Our folks really worked hard to get things done, get them done right. I observed, pun intended, no observers at all at any point. So, candidates, parties, there was nobody there. And it's set up very well. I had the discussion with several folks. I don't know if you and I talked about it. Steph and I think mentioned it. The first time we did this was over in the DoubleTree. And for observers, that was a disaster. It's that huge ballroom and the observers were all down at one end. You needed binoculars to see what was going on at the other end. And when we came up to the SAM building, came up with this model where you could literally walk all the way along where the work is taking place. We've done the same thing over at 600 Penn Street. I just think it's great. We did, once again, video the entire process beginning to end. I want to compliment the BCTV staff and specifically Heather Adams. Heather Adams is the executive director. I love leaders who lead by example. She was there when I went around lunchtime on a camera. And then in the evening, she came back and she ran. How long was she there? The bitter end till like 4 a.m. So she came back at like 8 or 8:30 at night. And I said to her right then, I said, you're the kind of leader people follow because you lead by example. And she took the tough shift. So they did a great job. We have all that video. If there was ever a need to access that, that is all accessible to document everything that was going on in that process. So thank you. With that, we're to public comment. We have one in person. Jeff, your name, municipality, and 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Wolf, Brecknock Township. I struggle to understand the election code as it applies to the post-election computation and canvassing of the returns, section 3154, and the post-election examination of each provisional ballot, which is section 3050. I conclude that the statute is describing two distinct operations. 3154 discusses a hard start time of 9:00 a.m. on the third day following the primary or election. 3050 describes a deadline expecting that the County Board of Elections shall commence within 7 calendar days of the election to examine each provisional ballot envelope that is received to determine and so forth. 3154 requires that due notice shall have been given as provided by section 1403, though section 1403 is related to distribution of street lists, which I don't understand. Although section 3050 permits one authorized representative of each candidate in an election and one representative from each political party shall be permitted to remain in the room in which the determination is being made. I read nothing in that particular section as to notification. However, guidance from the state reads, within 7 days after the election, the County Board of Elections must review and make a determination of each provisional ballot cast on election day. Counties should notify the parties and the public a week in advance of the date. I did not see any notice on the website describing the adjudication of the provisional ballots. The chair of the Republican committee informed me that he received no notice of the computation and canvass of returns and no notice of the review and determination of the provisional ballots. Going forward, I make these recommendations. If these two post-election processes can be handled simultaneously, notice should describe or label each process and indicate that they will be handled in this manner. The very spirit of the election code regarding provisional ballots is this: representatives shall be permitted to keep a list of those persons who cast a provisional ballot and shall be entitled to challenge any determination of the County Board of Elections with respect to the counting or the partial counting of the ballots under this section. So the best way to protect the right of political parties to challenge the provisional ballot determination would be to generate a printed report of the names of all voters associated with the provisional ballot that was cast and the determinations, especially the reasons for rejections.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's no one online, so that will close our public comment. Question for the solicitor. What process have we used to do the notification?
The statutory process, which requires public, the section that he referenced, 1403, it's the section of the election code, requires that we give public notice of the computation and canvassing of the votes cast, which we do, and we did.
By what means?
Newspaper publication. And we also, I believe, posted it on our website as well.
So it is
On
on
the
our website. Where is it on the website? Okay,
Now, we've traditionally, which makes sense, also during that, as part of the computation and canvassing of votes cast, adjudicate the provisional ballots. And I would add, I think our process is very transparent in that regard. We've commonly had observers for the computation and canvassing of votes cast. And while it is true that it is limited to one authorized representative of candidates and parties where that determination is being made, and the challenge is limited to one authorized representative of each. We are abundantly transparent in terms of if there are observers when we are adjudicating provisional ballots. That is pretty much open to all of the observers in terms of, here is this provisional ballot. It was rejected for this reason in this precinct. So I would think that I would respectfully submit that we go above and beyond in terms of transparency with adjudicating these provisional ballots.
so the claim that it wasn't listed on the website is not correct.
In terms of notice of the computation and canvassing,
Yes,
I'm
I'm looking here for announcements.
pulling it up. I believe it's on there.
You have it up? I was going to share my screen. Is it on the main?
Steph, put your mic on.
You go to the election services homepage, you scroll down past the information section, there's election services announcement. You see an announcement about write-in votes, the election board special meeting next week, and then official computation and canvass. And that's where it's posted. There's also information about how to become an observer of that process.
I don't see it. I'm on election services page. So
Scroll
let
past
me
the-
do this publicly so people can see, and maybe it's, you can show me.
You have it, others have it, it's on
Yeah,
there.
I
Yeah, I
have
think
it.
there's no question, it's on there, so we're
It's-
good. There it is. Yep,
So
confirmed. Thank you.
oh, okay. So it's right there.
Oh, it's a little higher than that one. It's that one, official
there.
computation canvas.
So they're all right here, election, and I was looking for a different link. So they are there. Yeah, you said they weren't there. Yeah, I'll allow you to go back, clarify.
I love interactive dialogue, by the way. So, no, I never said that it was not posted on the website. In fact, it was. What I said is that the chair did not receive a notice of that. And the other point I was trying to make here is that I think the adjudication of the provisional ballots is a separate process. And if you're going to do it simultaneously, then at least it should be stated in that way so that whoever reads that notice on the website knows that it's for both these processes. Now, the other thing is,
Hang on.
okay,
We're just, we don't want to get
too far.
too far afield
Okay,
here.
gotcha.
It is here, what you're asking for is notification, direct notification to party chairs and candidates.
Correct. And that if you're going to do both processes, that it also specifically states that the adjudication of the provisional ballots will be done at the same time.
We'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at it. Yeah, in notification of all the candidates, especially in the municipal election, would be a virtual impossibility. But notification of the parties, like we've done in the past, that's something that would be relatively simple. Let's look at that. I don't like to make sudden or quick decisions, but I think that's a worthwhile issue consider.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think there would be an issue with just including provisional ballots within the official, like it's not a very difficult thing to do.
Right.
Again, we've been very transparent in terms of when and how we adjudicate these provisional ballots and, you know, Jeff, I know you've been there when we've done it in the past, so you would have knowledge of when we do it, so.
I don't want to keep going back and forth. I set a precedent and next person comes in and says, hey, what about Jeff Wolf? I did that on my own because I don't want to misrepresent what you said. And I gathered I did, and indeed I did. So we got that clarification. And I think generally speaking, your request is reasonable on both counts. On the notification, I don't know about candidates, but definitely the parties and clarification on both of the things happening. So that's why I decided to weigh in. Okay? Commissioner Santoni, anything?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned.